If you hear your name whispered at 3 a.m., don't look back, don't just watch in the dark. Subscribe if you dare. The next scream might be yours. The night hung heavy over Ocean Avenue, the air soaked in salt and silence. The house stood there, waiting, its windows like hollow eyes staring into the street. The blue moonlight spilled across its front lawn, glinting off the "for sale" sign that never stayed upright for long. Locals said the house rejected anyone who tried to call it home. At exactly 3:15 a.m., the wind shifted. The porch light flickered once, then burned steady. Inside, the air felt wrong, dense, damp, almost breathing. In the living room, dust motes swirled in the moonlight, as if disturbed by footsteps unseen. The furniture, old and forgotten, still bore the faint outlines of those who once sat there. Upstairs, a window creaked open on its own. Curtains stirred, though the air was still. A framed photograph on the hallway wall tilted slightly. A family smiling beneath the same roof decades earlier. Their eyes seemed brighter than the rest of the photo, like they still remembered something they shouldn't. In the bedroom at the end of the hall, the temperature dropped suddenly. The wallpaper peeled back, as if pushed from underneath. A faint sound echoed, not a voice, not a groan, but something in between. It whispered once, then again, growing clearer with each breath of the house. "Help me." Downstairs, a small locket rolled out from beneath the carpet. Its metal surface was tarnished, initials barely visible, LD. When the wind brushed past, the locket flipped open, revealing a faded photograph of the same house. But the windows in the picture glowed red. The floorboards creaked near the basement door. Slowly, the latch began to rise on its own. The door opened just enough for the darkness below to exhale, thick, cold, and filled with a smell like wet iron. From the blackness, something shifted, dragging softly across concrete. And then came the whisper again, closer this time. Not one voice, many. Layered, desperate, echoing through the walls. "They'll hear me. I'll come home one day." The house sighed. The lights went out. The "for sale" sign fell to the ground. And at 3:16 a.m., a single window on the second floor lit up, glowing blue, as if the house itself had opened its eyes to be morning. The house looked ordinary again, sunlit, quiet, and still. But the silence wasn't peace, it was disguise. That afternoon, a young couple pulled up in a rusted blue pickup. Michael and Sarah Turner, both city-born, both running from something they refused to name. The house was cheap, too cheap for its size, and Sarah had smiled when the realtor called it a fixer-upper. Michael didn't believe in curses. He believed in bad wiring and creaky wood. The first night, they slept on a mattress in the living room, surrounded by unopened boxes. The walls moaned as the temperature fell, but Michael blamed the pipes. Around 2:50 a.m., Sarah stirred. The sound came again, not the pipes. It was softer, wet, like someone dragging their hand across the wallpaper. She sat up. The room was blue with moonlight. "Michael," she whispered. No answer. Only the faint rhythm of footsteps above them, slow, deliberate, pacing between rooms that hadn't been opened in years. When she woke the next morning, Michael was already in the attic. "You need to see this," he said. Beneath a layer of dust, an old trunk sat wedged between two beams. Inside, they found children's toys, a cracked photo frame, and a leather-bound diary swollen with damp. Most pages were blank, except one. It read, "They said they'd forget me, but they can't. I'll come home one day." Sarah shut it fast. "Probably one of the old owners," Michael said, laughing without smiling. But later that night, the diary was open again, on a different page, though neither of them had touched it. At 3:15 a.m., the lights flickered. Sarah froze. The old radio near the window crackled to life, whispering through static. It wasn't music. It was a voice, faint, distant, almost childlike. "You found my things." The air thickened. The front door groaned open by itself. A gust swept through the house, slamming the attic door upstairs. Sarah screamed for Michael, but her voice was swallowed by the walls. From somewhere deep inside, footsteps answered, slow, dragging, uneven. The radio hissed louder. The whisper turned into a rasp. "Don't leave me again." Michael burst into the room, pale, trembling. "It's in the attic," he said. And when they looked up, a single footprint, wet, small, barefoot, marked the ceiling above them. By the third night, the house no longer pretended to sleep. Every board, every window, every nail seemed to breathe with its own rhythm, a heartbeat made of wood and whispers. The Turners hadn't spoken since dawn. The diary now lay open on the kitchen counter, its pages fluttering as though something invisible were reading along. Michael tried to leave once. He opened the front door and froze. The street outside was gone, replaced by fog, so thick it looked alive, pulsing faintly in the moonlight. The sound of the ocean was closer than it should have been. Sarah clutched his arm, trembling. "We'll wait till morning," she said, though she didn't believe there would be one. At 3:12 a.m., the wind rose. The lights dimmed to a sickly blue. From the basement came a low hum, deep, steady, almost mechanical. They followed it down, step by cautious step, each creak of the floor echoing like a warning. The smell hit first. Damp, rust, something older. The concrete floor was slick with condensation, reflecting their flashlight in broken pieces. In the center of the basement stood the metal box, the same one from the diary's description. Its lid was slightly open, the edges corroded with age. Inside lay the locket, the initials still visible, LD. Beside it, a torn photograph, not of strangers, but of Michael and Sarah, standing in front of the house. Only, the picture was wrong. In the photograph, their eyes were closed. Behind them, a faint outline of a third figure stared from the window. Sarah dropped the photo. The hum grew louder, and from behind them, the door slammed shut. The flashlight flickered. For a moment, darkness. Then, faintly, the child's voice again, whispering, "Closer now. You took my house." The walls began to pulse. Paint cracked, dust falling like ash. A second voice joined, older, broken, filled with grief. "They promised to stay." Sarah's breath hitched. Michael, the diary. It lay open at their feet, pages turning on their own, faster, until stopping at a single entry written in red ink. "The house keeps what it remembers." The basement shuddered. The light went out. Sarah screamed. Michael reached for her, and his hand passed through her like smoke. Upstairs, the radio switched on again, softly playing a lullaby no one had ever heard before. The house sighed once, the wind pushing through its broken frame like a final exhale. When the neighbors drove by the next morning, the for sale sign was upright again. The windows glowed pale blue, and if anyone listened closely enough, beneath the hum of the wind and the creak of the porch swing, they could still hear a voice, faint, fragile, and waiting. "They'll hear me. I'll come home one day." The house at 112 Ocean Avenue stood silent once more, but it was never empty.